Welcome to Regent Park TV. I'm Isaiah. Save Our Children rally at Queen's Park. Youth and community demand justice against gun violence. Today, we bring you coverage from the Save Our Children rally, a community call to action that took place on Friday, October 24th, 2025 at Queen's Park. Organized by ENAGB Indigenous Youth Agency, the youth-led organization providing cultural, wellness, and leadership programs for Indigenous youth across the GTA. The event called for unity and accountability to protect children impacted by violence.
We stand here strong for our loved ones. The community misses you, Jahvai. Say his name. Jahvai!
The rally was held in memory of 8-year-old Jahvai Roy, an Anishnaabe and Bajan boy who was struck by a stray bullet while lying in bed beside his mother in North York on August 16th.
Justice for Jahvai.
Justice for Jahvai.
Long live Jahvai.
Long live Jahvai.
Jahvai was taken to the hospital and later pronounced dead. A tragedy that has sparked urgent calls across Toronto for justice and safer communities for Indigenous and racialized children.
Save our children. Save our children. Save our children.
The demonstration began at Nathan Phillips Square and marched to Queen's Park, where participants carried a petition calling for stronger protections for youth, reforms in the justice system, and greater community investment.
We demand that Canada invests in us, in our children, in our families, and in our communities.
At Queen's Park, speakers addressed the roots of violence, linking it to poverty, trauma, and long-standing systemic neglect. The Save Our Children rally combined ceremony, drumming, and youth voices, bringing together First Nations youth and allies in a collective call for change. Our reporters, Sam and Fred, were at the event. Sam spoke with Jahvai Roy, Jahvai's mother, and Briar Perrier of ENAGB, and gathered reflections from youth and community leaders who are calling for a safer and more accountable future. Now we go to Queen's Park, where Sam reports from the rally.
Hi, my name's Samuel with Regent Park TV, and today we're here at South Queen's Park today for support for Jahvai Roy and a First Nations community rally against gun violence. RPTV had the opportunity to speak with community members about the importance of this gathering. I'm Sam with Regent Park TV, and we're with
Briar Perrier. I'm the Toronto Director of the ENAGB Indigenous Youth Agency.
And we just want to know, what's the importance of this event?
So currently we're calling on all levels of government to acknowledge the lack of support for youth within the city of Toronto as well as Canada, the lack of resources that are put out there, the laws that are put in place to discriminate against these young people, and we're calling for 6 different changes to be made. So now we've heard Mark Carney bring up bail reform, but he has yet to talk about Young Offenders Act, and with that we would like an amendment to the Young Offenders Act, because young people do need accountability, but we're not just about penalizing young people, we're also talking about parental accountability. What environment has allowed these young people to kind of partake in violence? Where was the misstep? What systems failed these young people? And we need to hold parents accountable. We need to hold those who groom our children into violence accountable. We're also asking for a hate crime law protection that supports Indigenous peoples, so that if any Indigenous person is killed by violence or dies a violent death, either through accident or on purpose, that they are charged with a hate crime law, and that law will include Indigenous perspectives on repatriation and so on and so forth. We currently have a petition going around with about 1,200 signatures on it. It's on change.org, Justice for Jahvai, and we are calling on all Canadians to support us, because when we talk about Indigenous rights, it's something that's been shoved under the rug for many, many years. But I do have to go and speak now.
I just wanted to acknowledge everybody again for their time and commitment to young people. It really does mean a lot, not only to ENAGB, to all of our future generations. And when we hear those older people speak about the connection to land and what's currently going on in regards to violence within our city. It's something that's been perpetuated for 500 years. And how can we expect change when Canada cannot be held accountable? Without further ado, Ani Bojo, Nigigon Sandishna Kaz, Mangdo Dem. For those of you who don't know me, my English name is Briar Rose Perrier. The community I come from is Long Lac First Nation, but I was born and raised here in the city of Toronto. Today, I too raise a child here. But for me, it's something that's terrifying to think of. Our young people are suffering, parents are struggling with being forced to work long hours, and children are left to be raised by a system that never worked in the first place. Where is the quality of life anymore? I know for many, we live in a constant state of survival, struggling to make ends meet, where rent costs are still rising and the rates of inflation are on a steady incline, with pennies given to silence us in terms of livable wages. Where are those who are supposed to protect us? Where are our leaders of this country? For some, Toronto is seen as a place of new opportunity, a place to build a future, to chase dreams, to lay down roots for the next generations. But these days, I find myself questioning why anybody would want to be here. We've been sold a false reality. Beneath the skyline and bright lights, Toronto faces deep poverty, homelessness, unemployment, and addiction. A city that should nurture life is instead swallowing our people whole. Today we gather to save our children, who are being neglected by unjust systems that were never built to have them thrive. At ENAGB, we are youth-led, where many employed are youth, and allies are valued for their lived experiences. We create spaces of safety, culture, and belonging. One of the last times I saw Jahvai was at our lodge. He wasn't feeling his best that day. He was sore, but happy to be out of class and by his mother and brother's side. He came prepared, dragging along a big blanket so he could lie down and rest when he needed to. Even through his discomfort, he was able to make many smile that day. At one point, he had started imitating his mom, mimicking her voice perfectly and being silly. I guess it was one of those mornings, and she was frustrated that she was running late, right? And I know that all too well as a mom myself. Our table filled with laughter after seeing his impressions. His mom smiled as he carried that same playful spark that made him loved by so many. Unfortunately, I also carry the memory of witnessing a mother's grief, and not for the first time, may I add. Far too many mothers have buried their children. The cries made when a woman loses her baby will forever be engraved with lasting scars over our communities. That kind of loss never leaves you. It changes the very essence of who we are. It's the sound of silence after laughter that will never return. It's knowing that their voice will never again fill a room. That they will never meet major milestones like getting married or having children of their own one day. This is why we created the petition. Justice for Jahvai, safety for all Canadians. We're calling on every level of government to ensure his death was not in vain. The violence we see now is not new. It's a continuation of generations of colonial harm. If we want true justice and safety for all Canadians, we must begin by acknowledging and correcting over 500 years of pain endured by the first peoples of this land. How can we expect our young people to take responsibility for their actions when our own government refuses to be held accountable to the treaties and promises that were made long before this country was called Canada? Today, our youth are carrying the weight of systems that have failed them for generations. In 2024, Toronto recorded 461 shootings, resulting in 43 deaths and 120 injuries. As of this year, 13 teenagers have already been charged in connection with murders across the city. Shame. Shame. These are not just statistics. They are stories of young lives lost, families grieving, and communities trapped in cycles of violence that stem from poverty, trauma, and neglect. These are not numbers. They are names, families, stories, and children. Save our children. Politicians, can you be more disconnected from our communities? Prime Minister, where's our young people's $60 million? How is that while our city is in a state of emergency, our children are dying in the streets, and our families are crying for safety, our government can somehow find $60 million to send abroad for guns and gangs, but can't find the same urgency to protect marginalized youth right here at home? Shame! This isn't about turning our backs on others. It's about demanding the same compassion, investment, and justice for our own children. We are in crisis. Our youth are in crisis. And it's time Canada starts acting like it. Every child lost is proof of Canada's failure to act. Shame. Shame on this system that continues to bury our children while funding everything but their futures. If we truly want safer streets, we must invest in healing and prevention, not just punishment. We must build systems that protect youth, honor their potential, and create spaces where they are supported. Our petition calls on the Government of Canada and members of Parliament to act decisively so that no other family, Indigenous or non, will have to live this nightmare. We demand the end of so-called catch and release laws that allow violent offenders to walk free while families continue to suffer. We are calling on stricter bail conditions to ensure that individuals charged with homicide, manslaughter, sexual assault, exploitation, or weapons-related offenses are not automatically released back into our community. Our message is simple. Public safety must come before political excuses. Every time a violent offender is released, it puts more lives at risk. And every lost life is a reminder that justice delayed is justice denied. We must reform the Youth Criminal Justice Act. We need accountability, not loopholes. Repeat violent offenders who are youth must face stricter monitoring, and in serious cases where public safety is at risk, their identities must be known. In addition to this change, we must include those who choose to turn a blind eye. When a youth partakes in violence, it's important to look at what environment allowed this to happen. Parents who ignore weapons, drugs, or abuse in their homes must face criminal and civil consequences. Parenting means responsibilities to guide and to protect. If your child breaks your neighbor's window, you are responsible. Therefore, if your child violently hurts someone, you too are responsible. If you abandon your parental duty, you too are accountable. You are neglectful. We need to call it what it is. Children being involved in violence are becoming younger. How can we punish a child whose brain isn't fully developed? How are we holding children responsible for choices that were shaped by trauma, neglect, and manipulation? Many of our young people are being targeted and groomed, left vulnerable, unprotected, meeting predators online or in their own neighborhoods. People are not born violent. They are being taught, used, and discarded by adults who profit from their pain. We cannot only criminalize our children while ignoring environments that fail them. Canada needs to look at the grooming and glorification of violence and call it for what it truly is, the exploitation of our young men. Shame on those who recruit our youth, who hand them guns, who profit from chaos. When you lure a child into violence, you are stealing their future. Shame. If you are recruiting, arming, or exploiting our youth, you are not just part of the problem, you are the problem. You must be held accountable. The matter of fact is that we cannot arrest our way out of this crisis. We need to prepare to provide real solutions for Canadians. When are we, as the people, going to have a say in where our country spends its money? What is the point of democracy when we're forced to choose between the lesser evil instead of genuine solutions that protect and heal our communities? Canada needs investments in housing, education, and mental health supports, addictions, treatment, and Indigenous-led programs that service all Canadians. Safety comes from healing, and now I leave you with the most important truth of all. Every act of violence against Indigenous people is an act of hate. For generations, this country has been built upon the hatred and displacement of Indigenous people, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. Let's be honest. Canada is founded on genocide.
Yes.
Our very existence stands as a reminder that this land was never surrendered. We are the original caretakers, and the truth threatens those who seek to control and profit from what was never theirs and what isn't theirs. Because of that, we have been treated as obstacles, not people. It wasn't that long ago that it was legal to kill an Indian. It was considered sport. We were hunted, starved, sterilized, and stripped of our children and our culture, all under false promise of civilization. Shame on Canada. Canadians are quick to condemn the injustices of other countries but refuse to look in the mirror. Every taxpayer in this country is actively paying into the government that continues to perpetuate genocide through poverty, incarceration, stolen children, and silence. We are the only race of people in the world who have an entire set of laws that govern our existence. In the eyes of Canada, we are not seen as human beings. We are viewed as wards of the state. That apartheid system still exists today. It's called the Indian Act. This country controls our lands, our resources, our rights, and even our identities. It is this foundation of a system that's built to dehumanize, restrict, and erase Indigenous people. If this country can use the power of law to protect wildlife, then it can use the same power to protect Indigenous lives. This is why we demand that every act of violence against Indigenous people be treated and prosecuted as a hate crime. Because when someone fires a gun into a neighborhood without care for who gets hit, this is not random. It is a systemic disregard for Indigenous life. That is hate, that is racism, and that is colonial violence continuing through modern systems. Today we honor the life of Jahvai Roy and every child whose laughter was stolen too soon. We honor every mother who has buried their baby, every community left to grieve in silence, and every young person who still believes their life matters, even when this country tells them otherwise. Let's be more than another gathering. Let's be a movement that demands justice, accountability, and healing, not just for Indigenous people, but for all Canadians. Because when one community suffers, the whole nation does as well. Change does not start in Parliament, it starts with us here today. It starts with speaking the truth, signing the petitions, and holding leaders and peers accountable. We're not asking for pity, we are demanding justice. We are not asking to be heard, we're demanding to be listened to, and we will not stop until our children are safe, our families are healed, and our people are free. Our people deserve more than sympathy, we deserve legal protection. We deserve laws that reflect the values of our lives. Until this country names what's happening for what it is, the violence will continue. Please take the time to sign our petition calling for stronger protections and justice for our children. You can also support the creation of ENAGB's Anti-Violence Department, which will help us to continue providing prevention, education, healing, and lobbying for change for youth and families. Together, we can build safe communities for our future children. Miigwech, everybody. I've spoken enough. I hope you all enjoy the rest of today. Miigwech, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam with Regent Park TV, and I'm with
Jahvai Roy.
And I just want to ask you, how meaningful is this event for you, for in support for Jahvai and all First Nations people?
This is very important. It needs to send a very powerful message to our governments, to our communities, and like everybody who's living in this city specifically. But it's not just like a citywide issue. It's Canada issue. Yeah, and we just we need to build safer communities, to make sure we have resources for our youth. You know, especially mental health resources, mentorship, and we need to do better. It takes a village. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem. You're welcome.
Miigwech, everybody, for coming out and showing your support. I really feel the love and I feel well supported. I can't even imagine navigating this without everybody's
Stay strong.
got this. I got this. You got this. I have to keep notes because I want to say everything I need to say. So, you know. Again, thank you for being here. The day my son was taken, I felt overwhelmed with hurt and anger. However, in my heart, I've come to realize that I can honor his memory by fighting for change. I want to use my pain to make a difference to ensure that no other family has to go through what I'm going through. I'm going to continue to fight for justice and advocate for change. I can't see because my eyes are full of water. I'm going to continue fighting for justice and advocating for change. What that looks like is gun control changes. Mental health supports and changes within the Youth Criminal Justice Act. We need to prioritize rehabilitation over punishment, leading to lack of consequences for young offenders. The age of responsibility varies, and it's often a gradual process where individuals gain more anatomy as they mature. For toddlers, ages 1 to 3, they begin to understand simple rules and boundaries. School-age kids, 6 to 12, develop a more nuanced understanding of right and wrong, including understanding consequences and intentions. Teens, 13 and up, they refine their moral reasoning and develop their own values and societal morality. So within our Youth Criminal Justice Act, when a youth commits a heinous crime, they definitely should be held accountable. Yep. We're not giving them a slap on the wrist. That is my priority of what justice looks like, and I hope the feds revisit that. Supporting initiatives that address the root causes of youth crime, such as poverty, trauma, and lack of opportunities. We need to encourage policymakers and government to make comprehensive approaches to youth justice. Incorporating social, economic, and cultural factors. My son was a bright light in our lives. He was an energetic and fearless 8-year-old. He had an infectious enthusiasm that drew people to him. His quick wit and sense of humor belted at his young age. Everybody who knew him knew that. He was a funny guy. He had an old soul that shone through his intentions with others. As a young, strong-willed child, He knew what he wanted, and he wasn't afraid to express himself. His love for his community and his mother and his family was palpable. And it's clear that he brought so much joy and love into our homes and our community. His memory will continue to live on in our hearts. The impact he had on those around him will never be forgotten. Remember his name.
Jahvai.
Justice for Jahvai.
Justice for Jahvai.
Long live Jahvai.
Long live Jahvai.
Thank you.
We love you. This is our second call for change, a call to action for both Canada and the City of Toronto. First and foremost, we want to thank everyone here today for your support and solidarity. All your efforts do not go unnoticed. We are members of the ENAGB Indigenous Youth Agency, a program run by Youth for Youth. My name is Cora Malley. I'm an Indigenous youth and born and raised in the city of Toronto. I am Anishnaabe and part of the Bear Clan. Our clan's responsibility is protection, to be guardians of our people, and I take that role seriously, which is why I'm standing here with you all today. As a young person raised in this city, I've seen firsthand how little effort Ontario and Canada have made to support the healthy development of youth or to address the growing rates of poverty across our communities. Let alone the attempts to address the ongoing genocide of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Every Indigenous person lost to natural causes is a well-executed plan to eradicate the Indian problem, a problem that Canada has had for over 500 years. I'm not only here today to speak about Jahvai, but I also speak for my older brother who I recently lost, Tyrell Malley. My brother's life was treated as disposable by not only the Canadian government, but those who preyed upon him. Not one single system this failed government endures helped him. Why are we still silent? Why do we see these terrible things happening, yet we are helpless to stop them because of the system?
Testing. Ani, everyone. My name is Amberly Eckhart. I am 27 years old, and I am a mixed Mi'kmaq Indigenous youth. And I also come from the Eagle Clan. The Eagle Clan carries the responsibility of spiritual leadership, symbolizing honor, truth, courage, wisdom, and freedom. I grew up in the child welfare system, where my entire upbringing was spent in foster care. I know firsthand how this system can set up our youth for failure. Young people need belonging, love, and an understanding of their identity, all of which I was robbed of through the system. Today, I stand here as a youth council member with ENAGB Indigenous Agency, representing the voices of the youth who, like me, have experienced struggle but continue to rise above. I've participated in the ENAGB Youth Program for the past 4 years, where they have supported me in countless ways, from housing to employment and everything in between. Because of this community, I am able to stand here proud of my roots, alongside all of you, to demand justice for those who have been taken from us far too soon, for those whose deaths could have been prevented, This is a symptom of a system that continues to fail us, one that Canada refuses to change. It doesn't matter which party is in power. They continue to put the health and wellness of Canadians on the back burner, while spending millions on things no Canadian asked for.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Canada can portray to the world that we are an inviting country, willing to help our brothers and sisters across the world who are in need. But we all want you to know the truth. The truth that Canada has blood on its hands. Shame!
Shame!
Not only of our ancestors, but of all the loved ones taken to this day. At ENAGB, we know grief far too well. We have buried countless youth and will continue to do so if Canada doesn't take immediate action. Shame!
Shame!
Today, we gather with broken hearts to create change in honor of lives taken far too soon. We must not forget whose death brought us all here today. His name was Jahvai Roy. We are here because our community is in a state of constant grief, shock, and pain. We have yet to catch a break from a country that wouldn't be here without Indigenous people. Our people have died for this country. Our people will continue to die for this country without any recognition, so the average Canadian can indulge in a life of luxury. Jahvai was a brother, cousin, nephew, friend, son, and grandchild. Say his name.
Jahvai!
Jahvai was an 8-year-old Afro-Anishnaabe boy, full of energy, laughter, and kindness. He loved playing with his friends, being outdoors, and he especially loved his mom and family. We had the privilege of knowing Jahvai at ENAGB. He was an active participant in our programs, proud to see his mom at work, and proud to attend ceremonies and gatherings. Jahvai, at his young age, was a knowledge keeper himself. He talked about how he couldn't wait until he turned 12, because that's when he could officially join our programming. My family spent time with his presence at an Indigenous getaway camp to spend time with the community and family. We experienced his strength and charisma. He wanted to be a leader. He wanted to be a voice. He wanted to make a difference. That chance was stolen from him. And with it, a piece of all of us was stolen too. But we will not allow Jahvai's death to be in vain. He will continue to be a leader through us. Say his name.
Jahvai!
We are all here because this tragedy should have never happened. None of the loss we have endured should have ever happened. Every child deserves to be safe in their homes, asleep in bed, beside the one person they feel safest with, our moms. We are here because the system meant to protect us has failed, like it has been for the past 500 years. Woo! Shame!
Shame!
There's far too many violent offenders, young, youth, and adult. released back into our communities under catch and release laws. And too often when Indigenous people are harmed, those crimes are either minimized or explained away. Today, we say, enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
Today, we say, no more catch and release!
No more catch and release!
We say, every child and person's life must be valued. We say his name, Jahvai! We're calling for a new law, Jahvai's law, a law that ensures that any act of violence against Indigenous peoples, deliberate or accidental, is treated as a hate crime. We deserve to feel safe on our inherent land. History has shown that these acts of violence are never separate from colonialism. It's part of its legacy. A legacy that continues to live within every Canadian household today. It's time we step up. It's time Canada steps up and changes their narrative to make First Nation, Métis, Inuit people a priority. Say his name! Say his name!
At ENAGB, we know that justice is not just about punishment. Real safety means prevention. Real safety means dignity. Real safety means opportunity. We need more than handcuffs. We need liable wages, stronger social supports, safe housing, and food security so that families don't have to turn to desperate measures just to survive. Say his name.
Jahvai!
We need police who serve, not condemn. Officers who show up to our positive rallies and events. Join us in ceremony, in sport, and in community. Not only when it's time to criminalize poverty. We must protect our youth from the grooming and glorification of violence. Too many are being pulled into street life by older peers and media that celebrate destruction instead of life. We must hold accountable those who profit from this loss of community. And we must protect our youth from being targeted and used. To the young people listening, it is not cool to pick up a gun. It is not fashion to have to wear your loved ones on a t-shirt. It is not brave to hurt people. It is not strength to take a life. It's cowardice. Do you know what's really cool? Being a plumber, electrician, carpenter, teacher, knowledge keeper or leader, learning a trade, building a career, raising a family, giving back to your community. That's what lasts. That's what builds a future. Let's not allow social media, music, or other influences to convince our youth that destruction earns respect. Respect comes from creation, not violence. To my peers who have been influenced by the lies, the promises, and dreams sold to you, let me be the first to say, happiness doesn't come in the form of bringing pain to others. I wonder if they tell you about the pain that comes with that lifestyle. Did they tell you about the cold nights when you're locked in a two-man cell with 4 people in it? Did they tell you about missing your mom's voice, your child's laughter, or the smell of your home? Did those who groomed you ever explain the nightmares, the guilt, or the emptiness that follows when the noise fades and you're left alone with your thoughts? They didn't tell you that violence doesn't build you, it breaks you. It steals your potential, your freedom, and your chance to live in peace. My brother Tyrell didn't deserve to die. He lived a life with no regrets. Why do I get turned down when I want justice and action to be taken on the person who ended his life? Why does my family need to suffer? Why does any Indigenous person need to feel this pain of losing someone close and not being able to speak on it? When will that change? When will we get peace? We stand here strong for our loved ones. The community misses you, Jahvai. Say his name.
Jahvai!
Canada, please. We are urging you, as the young people of this country, don't let his name become another statistic. Let's build a future where not only Indigenous children, but all children can play, laugh, and grow without fear. We demand that Canada invests in us, in our children, in our families, and in our communities. This is for Jahvai. This is for Tyrell. This is for Samuel. This is for all children and all future generations to come. We will not stop fighting until we receive justice. Justice for Jahvai is justice for all. For our children, for our future, for our people. On behalf of the ENAGB Youth Council, Miigwech, thank you. Nika Ingana.
The message from First Nations youth at Queen's Park also resonates here in Regent Park, where families continue to face the impact of gun violence. The memory of Jahvai Roy reminds us why community voices matter, calling for safety, justice, and a future where every child can grow up free from fear. For Regent Park TV, I'm Isaiah.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on social media, and for more information, check out our website.